So one of the reasons that I don't like trigger warnings, and believe me, I have a lot more to say on that just beyond the video that I made. I might end up making an entire article around it. Um, a lot of times, the really traumatic things we go through don't end up being our triggers. A lot of times, what will end up triggering us is stuff that reminds us of things that happened right before disaster struck. So you'll have people, they can talk about horrendous things. They can witness horrendous things they've experienced depicted in movies or read about it in a book, and they'll be completely fine. But you have somebody stand in front of a closed door, they're going to have an emotional flashback because it reminds them of something that happened right before something terrible. And so one of the issues we run into when we're trying to develop our psychic senses is that we have to lean in and trust our feelings if we're going to develop our intuition. But how do you trust your feelings when your nervous system can get kicked on and it feels like it's lying to you? Your emotions are lying to you. Because if you look around, you feel like you're in imminent danger, like your life is about to end, but that's not the case at all. And you can rationally see it, but you are panicking and you have no idea why. Well, your emotions are always telling you the truth. They're always giving you valid feedback based on the experiences that you have had. Intuition is a lot more mundane than people think it is. Yes, there is a mystical and a spiritual element to it. Yes, you are capable of knowing and discerning things that you have no rational, logical, or physical way of determining. But more often than not, intuition is a matter of being clear on what your emotional responses in the moment are, as well as observation and observations based on experience. So intuition is a muscle that you can strengthen through pretty mundane means. Now, if you've been in circumstances with horribly toxic and abusive people for most of your life, you're going to be trained to think that normal things are a threat. Not because those normal things are a threat, but because they represented moments in your past where maybe you could have gotten away. Maybe things could have gone differently. If you're in a moment of safety in a new relationship, as an example, it might feel terrifying to you if you were in an abusive relationship before it. But the reason it would feel terrifying to you is because of a thing called intermittent reinforcement. If you're with a narcissist, they're not going to be cruel 100% of the time. In fact, they'll give you some positive feedback in order to keep you hooked. So you would learn to associate those calm and quiet moments with a storm that was about to roll in and completely disrupt your life. So when you're with someone who is safe and healthy, that safety, that health, that's going to feel like the most terrifying thing that you've ever experienced, because your nervous system is trying to keep you safe. And it's going to feel like an incredibly powerful pull. It's going to be easy to mistake it for intuition, but it's not actually going to be your intuition speaking. If you can get through the extreme trigger, if you can find your center in the midst of that, you may find that underneath the panic, there is a legitimate problem. There is something to address or to worry about. But it's not going to be clear from the frame of mind where you just want to bolt out of the door. Now, if you're dealing with something like that, I would highly recommend getting some kind of professional help. Whether it's talk therapy, relational therapy, trauma release exercises in a class setting. But as a general rule, when it comes to separating your traumas from your intuition, intuition is not always going to tell you pleasant things. Sometimes intuition will coincide with things that you're afraid of. But when you are truly tapped into your intuition, it's going to be calm. It's going to be matter of fact. There's going to be a knowing. Your mind isn't going to be racing. You're just going to have this instantaneous understanding with the attendant feelings that are appropriate for the situation. And then it will be up to you how you respond to that. So, if you're tapped into intuition in a situation with someone who is toxic and dangerous, the way that's likely to come through is just this knot in your stomach and a knowing, even if nothing has gone wrong, that you need to get the hell out of Dodge. If you've been traumatized and you're in that kind of situation, the way that's going to play out is that your nervous system is going to kick into high gear and you're going to feel a panicked need to get away from it. And more than likely, because you haven't seen any rational reason to get away from this person, that this person is unsafe, you're going to gaslight yourself into thinking that you're safe. When after you've peeled away the panic, there's still that inner voice that's trying to get your attention. And there's a good chance that inner voice is going to kick your nervous system back into high gear because you just can't shake the feeling that something isn't right. Your triggers are not always wrong, but they can distort reality. If you want to be able to see past them, if you want to be able to tap into your actual intuition, in those circumstances where it's hard to find your center, one thing that I find extremely helpful is to affirm to myself, in this moment, I am safe. In this moment, I'm warm. I have clean clothes. I have coffee in the pantry. In this moment, no one is going to harm me. No one can come in here and harm me. Anything that grounds me in my body and in the moment. And I don't try to convince myself I'm safe, because too often I've done that and I have gaslit myself in circumstances where there were clear red flags that I needed to get out of a circumstance. So instead, I get into a place where I can listen. And I don't necessarily make a decision in that moment on what my gut has to say, but I listen to my gut, I write it down, and then I try to figure out how do I navigate reality in a way that helps me determine the truth of the situation. And when it comes to relationships with other people, a safe person is going to be someone who understands where you're coming from. They understand trauma. They will understand that when your nervous system kicks into high gear, it's not about them. They will be patient with you. They will be kind, even if they don't fully grasp what you're going through. They will understand because they care about you, that they need to make some effort to accommodate it. They need to hear you out. They need to reassure you. And they need to show over a period of time that what you've been through in the past is not going to repeat with them. In terms of how this applies in broader contexts, well, think about if you're embarking on a creative endeavor. Let's say you were mocked and bullied in school for being weird, for being artistic. And I said artistic, not autistic, for people who might mishear that. Although in this context, both words may apply depending on your specific experience. And to be clear on that, I'm not making jokes in this video because I understand that somebody who has had autism and they've had to deal with that kind of environment where kids can be extremely cruel, that can be extremely damaging later in life. I've known a lot of people who've had to struggle with that as they've gotten older. If you're used to being bullied and you want to express yourself in a new way, what's going to happen is you're going to go back in time mentally and in terms of your nervous system, your body remembers it, to when you were bullied. And when you haven't even put your stuff out there, you're in the place you were before you got bullied. So your nervous system is trying to keep you safe by preventing you from doing the thing you want to do. Even though the thing that you want to do, it's something that makes you happy. Maybe it makes your soul sing. Maybe it's your dharma, your life's purpose. And you're not only depriving yourself, but the world of your gifts by not doing it. Your nervous system isn't concerned with all of that. Your nervous system is concerned with your survival and with your safety. And your thriving and your safety, they're not at odds with each other. But be patient and compassionate toward yourself when you're dealing with that. Because it's not an overnight process to get through those triggers. And I'll say flat out, yes, I offer coaching and I offer help with shadow work and so on and so forth, but I am not a trained mental health professional. What I'm here to do is to help people get through blocks. I'm here to help people refine their practice and explore things that maybe they never thought of, give them new ideas, help them with breakthroughs. I'm not equipped to deal with serious mental illness or setbacks that you probably want to talk to a professional with. Or at the very least, a very good friend that you know personally. I've always said, because I've known many people who have had terrible experiences with therapists and vowed that they would never go back. I understand where they're coming from. What I've told them is, listen, therapy may or may not be required, but the processes that a good therapist will guide you through are necessary. And those processes always involve building up your support network, finding people you can trust to talk to. And even if you can't find anybody that you can trust to talk to, at the very least, building up a rock solid relationship with yourself, where you are safe in your own mind. You are safe in your own journal. The more you do that, the more that you actually tend to your wounds, you tend to your nervous system, and you get calmer and you're able to stay rational even when you are in a panicked state. The more you do that, the more your intuition is going to come through, and the more you're going to feel your intuition over your triggers. So this was a bit of a heavier topic, but it felt timely with the things that a lot of people I know have been going through, and even some of the things I've had to process with this new moon. I don't think any of us got through November unscathed. It doesn't matter who it is. If there's a coach or a guru out there who says that they didn't have any bumps in the road this month, I'm willing to say at this point, it's like they're probably a fraud. They're lying to you. Don't listen to what they have to say. But anyway, I hope that this video was helpful. Give it a like if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Pass it on to anybody you think would benefit from it. And if you're looking for my writings or my services, you can find that in the links below along with my socials. It was good talking to you guys, and I'm looking forward to the next video.